America is losing billions every month, and yet nobody seems to know how to stop it. Politicians argue endlessly about bringing factories back and buying American. Each year, the trade deficit quietly grows bigger. You heard about tariffs, trade wars, and promises to fix things, but what if the problem runs deeper than politics or policy? What if the very solutions meant to resolve the issue are making things worse? In this video, we'll unravel the hidden reasons behind America's expanding trade deficit, exposing why the real story isn't about China, tariffs, or trade deals, something far more surprising. Imagine you're buying more than you're selling every single month. Soon you'd run out of cash. That's exactly what's happening to America, but on a massive scale. A trade deficit happens when a country buys more goods from other nations than it sells abroad. It sounds simple, yet its impact is enormous. The US imports cars, electronics, clothes, and much more, paying billions to other countries each year. At the same time, America's factories aren't exporting enough products to balance out that spending. But here's why things get tricky. Some think a trade deficit means America is losing money, but that's only part of the story. Countries like China and Germany export more than they import, creating trade surpluses. They save more than they spend internationally. America does the opposite, borrowing from other nations to keep spending. So, is a deficit always nasty? Well, not necessarily. This means that Americans enjoy more choices and cheaper prices, but it also means depending on other countries for essential goods. Over time, this dependence can weaken America's economic power and security. Understanding the trade deficit isn't just about numbers, it's about choices, power, and the hidden cost of living beyond your means. Right now, America's trade deficit is hitting record highs. Monthly, billions flow out of the country, chasing foreign goods. Despite bold promises by recent presidents to reverse this trend, the numbers tell a different story. Last month alone, the trade gap widened again, surpassing economists and politicians alike. Part of the problem is that Americans keep buying more foreign-made products. Think smartphones from South Korea, TVs from China, or cars from Germany. But it's not just consumers driving up imports. American businesses also stock up and import materials and supplies to keep their shelves full and factories running. Even with tariffs, it's meant to slow this spending spree. Americans haven't changed their habits. In fact, many companies simply switch suppliers or move production elsewhere, sidestepping tariffs altogether. As a result, despite government efforts, the US trade deficit continues to grow, quietly reshaping America's economy behind the scenes. The reasons behind America's growing trade deficit go far beyond simple spending. One major cause is America's love of consuming. Americans buy more goods like electronics, clothes, and cars than the nation produces. When factories can't keep up with demand, stores import goods to fill the shelves. Now, another big reason is the strong US dollar. Foreign investors around the world see the dollar as safe and stable. They invest billions in American banks, bonds, and stocks. This flood of foreign money makes the dollar even more potent, making imports cheaper and exports pricier. So Americans naturally import more and foreigners buy fewer American goods. Then there's globalization. Today, goods cross borders many times before reaching stores. Companies spread their factories globally, choosing countries with cheaper costs. This creates complex supply chains, making it hard to bring production fully back to the US, even with tariffs. Also, America's economy is growing faster than many others. When the economy is strong, Americans have more money and confidence to buy foreign goods. Meanwhile, slower growing countries countries buy fewer American products. Finally, US policies sometimes worsen the deficit without meaning to. Economic stimulus, lower taxes, and increased government spending boost consumer spending. But if production doesn't grow to match this demand, the gap must be filled by imports. Together, these factors create a cycle that's difficult to break. Without addressing these deeper causes, the trade deficit will keep quietly expanding. When Donald Trump introduced tariffs, he promised they'd fix America's trade imbalance, but despite his efforts, the deficit only got bigger. So why didn't these tariffs work? First, Trump's tariffs targeted specific countries like China and Mexico. While this made some foreign products more expensive, American buyers simply found similar items from other nations. For example, Chinese goods started arriving via Vietnam, dodging tariffs but not solving the more significant issue. Second, tariffs unintentionally made the US dollar stronger. When America imposed tariffs, prices went up at home, causing inflation. To fight rising prices, interest rates increased, making it attractive for foreigners to invest in US dollars. This strong dollar made American products more expensive overseas, reducing exports even further. Finally, Trump encouraged other countries to invest heavily in America. While this brought money in, it actually boosted the deficit because the extra cash let Americans continue buying foreign goods. In short, tariffs seemed like a simple fix, but in reality, they backfired. Instead of protecting American jobs and industry, they quietly pushed the US trade deficit to new heights. If tariffs aren't working, what else can America do to shrink its trade deficit? One solution gaining attention is applying a universal tariff, a small equal tax on all imports. Instead of picking fights with specific countries, America could gently raise the cost of all foreign goods. Over time, this approach could encourage buying American without causing sudden price shocks. Now, another solution is strengthening domestic manufacturing. Investing in local factories, better technology, and skilled workers could make American products cheaper and more competitive globally. Instead of blocking imports, the US could boost its exports. Some also suggest international agreements, similar to past details that balance trade between significant economies. But today's world is different. Geopolitical tensions and shifting alliances mean this path is more challenging than ever. No solution is perfect, but relying on a more innovative mix of tariffs, investments, and international cooperation could finally start closing America's trade gap. America's trade deficit isn't going away anytime soon. The global economy is shifting quickly and the US faces tough choices. China isn't backing down and traditional allies have their own problems to solve. If America pushes too hard, trade tensions could get worse. Inflation and debt are already rising. Politicians need fundamental strategies, not quick fixes, to manage this problem. Without more innovative policies, the deficit will quietly grow, impacting jobs, prices, and America's global influence. The challenge now is balancing short-term demand with long-term solutions to ensure America stays strong competitively and economically secure. America's growing trade deficit isn't just an economic puzzle, it's a sign of deeper issues beneath the surface. Tariffs, well, they just haven't worked. Quick fixes have failed, and politicians keep chasing the wrong solutions. To truly solve the deficit, America needs smarter long-term thinking. Boosting domestic manufacturing, rethinking trade policies, and carefully balancing global partnerships can help rebuild America's economic strength. Without a new approach, the deficit will quietly shape America's future, influencing everything from jobs and prices to global power. It's time for leaders and citizens to ask tough questions and demand real solutions before the hidden costs become too big to ignore.